認めるよ、真人。俺はお前を否定したかった。ただお前を殺す。名前を変えても姿を変えても何度でも殺す。この行いに意味が生まれるのはきっと俺は大きな何かの歯車の一つに過ぎないんだ。
Fear is subjective. Fear is perspective. The fear of the barrel of the gun facing down the cowering soldier is salvation for the soldier clasping the gun with shaking hands, but fear is what makes them squeeze the trigger. It's so easy to forget, but most people don't think they're evil, and most villains fear the heroes all the same. Now, when Mahito and Yuji meet early on in the show, Mahito mentions a cliché to Yuji. Faced off and matched up equally, Mahito remarks how he and Yuji are the same, mirrored pieces on opposite ends of a chessboard. He is a curse, but he is to curses what Yuji is to humans. Up until this moment, curses have not been shown to have much culture or even any semblance of society beyond these small groups. So this assertion was interesting, sure, but villains often say this to heroes. It's not always with the most thought, so at the time I didn't really think much of it, beyond being confused as to why the parallel was being drawn. For a long time after this in the show, these two do not clash again, and this statement is left to hang in the air. As the show progresses though, an interesting parallel begins to emerge, reinforced by what we see of Mahito and Yuji as they grow. Now Yuji is our classic shonen protagonist. He's headstrong, carefree, kind-hearted and determined. He often makes his way through dangerous situations with little more than his willpower, little more planning than the will to help his friends and save human lives. He often displays out-of-place optimism and nonchalance in stressful situations. His power is still burgeoning, and not the strongest yet, and he's learning to wield it, but he holds power that can affect the enemies in ways his allies can't, which makes him a special piece to both his allies and his enemies. Thing is, pretty much all of those things above could also describe Mahito. We see him with his allies, the other curses, and he is to them what Yuji is to his friends. He is their special weapon, with his ability to affect the souls of his opponents, just like Yuji, and he too is shown to fight with boundless optimism and in defense of his friends, his family. Psychotic and monstrous as Mahito may seem as he dances amongst civilians, warping them into abominations or reducing them to gore, it must be what the curses see when Gojo slices 1,000 of them to ribbons in an instant. Just like Yuji and his friends see the curses see monsters in them all the same, and they bring the fight with the same ferocity that the humans do. It's with this understanding that we follow Mahito and Yuji through the rest of the show up until the end of the Shibuya arc. Without spoiling too much, the arc is non-stop action, death, loss, destruction, all tethered together by an unceasing countdown. Every episode feels tense and short, a ceaseless flow of events happening across numerous perspectives, both friend and foe. Amongst all of this, Mahito and Yuji have their promised reunion. Narrative tension is building to a breaking point, and Mahito shatters the dam by taking something very precious to Yuji right in front of his eyes. Now what follows is one of my favourite fights across the season and the show as a whole. We see Mahito and Yuji test the very limits of what they've come to understand about their powers. Two people who are pretty much poison to all other combatants, but able to face each other down with their full strength, tricks and technicalities of their techniques aside. The fight rages, and Yuji fights with the help of his friends, whilst Mahito fights alone. It's dripping with implication, the idea that Mahito and Yuji have both given everything for their friends, and yet Mahito is abandoned in the face of his greatest challenge. For a time, it seems he will be bested, but the fight allows him to understand himself even better. As he watches Yuji move, feels every impact, he is looking in a mirror and seeing the monster he faces down wear his face, and he understands what kind of monster he can become. Mahito is made complete, and he launches his full force at Yuji in his perfect form. I have little to say beyond encouraging everyone to go and watch this show and this scene. The satisfaction of the slow-burning rivalry between these two connected yet estranged characters, our protagonist and antagonist, both playing both roles as the fight rages back and forth to a climactic finish. It's worth watching the entire show to bring yourself to this moment. And in the end, Mahito is beaten. No tricks or subterfuge, he brings everything he has against Yuji, and he is beaten. A simple matter of strength of will. Suddenly, we're brought to Mahito's perspective. The change is undeniable. We're not where or who we were anymore. This unconquerable evil is suddenly a snivelling rabbit in the snow, lame and limp, left to struggle. We feel the cold press in, and we feel Mahito's fear. It's then that we, Mahito, see Yuji. This is the true climax of the show for me, the entire reason behind Mahito's journey through the show. We are shown Mahito as an irredeemable psychopath, a murderer who delights in human suffering. Only later are we allowed to understand that he acts as he believes is right. Now sure, it seems evil to us and evil to Yuji, but he fights for his family. He understands Yuji does the same, and he's able to appreciate the meaning implicit in that fact, same as us. So, this moment, the moment that Yuji's eyes meet Mahito's, is the destruction of everything we as an audience and Mahito knew. Now, this whole time, Mahito believed that he was the monster, per se, the one who would eventually do what must be done. He saw himself as the predator, and Yuji, the gentle-hearted prey. Perhaps Mahito expected an outreached hand, a la Goku, a graceful winner in Yuji who says he can't wait for the rematch. Instead, he sees the cold, dead eyes of a hunter. Mahito is facing down that barrel, and for the first time, he feels the fear that he wields. Mahito knew that he could be cruel, but he understands in this moment that he's created a far more terrifying force than even he could understand. Now, fear is just perspective, and Mahito is afraid. He runs, but it's weak, pointless. He's bloodied and broken, and Yuji trudges after him. There is no joy or urgency in the act, none of the revelry Mahito takes in defeating his foes. As Mahito cowers and cries out, and Yuji approaches slowly, the icy wind screams through the trees, and for just a moment, Mahito is a mangled, pitiful thing, staring down the jaws of an uncaring wolf. You almost feel bad for him.